Without further ado, I'm going to bring on our very first comedian of the night. So please put your hands together and make a lot of noise for Viv Waters.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Butterfly Club. I'm Viv and I'm a group facilitator. You're a group and I'm a facilitator. What could possibly go wrong? Just this week somebody told me that facilitation is a thing. I've been doing this for 25 years. Now I know that it's a thing. That's amazing. And this thing that I do with groups that want to look at sustainability and complexity and who's responsible for the milk in the fridge at the tea room. They're concerned about stuff. And what I do is get them to talk about stuff and try not to stuff up too much in the process. As part of my work, I get to travel quite a bit. I know that's not very sustainable. Bad Viv. In my defence, I work with a lot of groups who are trying to do something good for the environment. Good Viv. These people though, you know they have a lot of meetings. And they have a meeting before the meeting, and then they have the meeting, and then they have a meeting after the meeting to talk about the meeting and to plan the next meeting. Sometimes they call me in to run these meetings. Now here's the thing, I don't do meetings, I do workshops. What's the difference, you're thinking? The clue is in the name. In a workshop, you will be doing the work, not me. I'm not sure about the shop part though. Maybe we could workshop that. If you could just turn to the person that you're sitting next to. No, just kidding. So, I said I do a lot of travel, that's true. And last year I was in Milton Keynes in the UK. And Milton Keynes is north of London. It was built in the 1960s. It's a commuter town. And it's a lot like Canberra, but without the charm. And just recently I was working in Geneva. Geneva and Canberra have got a lot in common. They've both got a big lake and a huge fountain coming out of the lake. And they both have all of these bureaucrats and people who are making policy and making all these decisions. The problem is they have a committee for the decisions, and then they have a meeting about the decision, and then they talk about the decision, then they have another committee to talk about implementing the decision, then they have another meeting to implement the decision. So it's all a bit wacko. So when I came back from Geneva, I had to go to Trelgan. Now there is a sentence that you don't hear very often. Let me give you 3 words to describe Trelgan. No? Nothing. Sorry, that's only 2 words. So, nothing against Trelgan, of course. Sometimes when I'm working with these groups, I have to listen to some really weird words. Yeah, they do some strange things to language. And they use multi-syllable, big words. like sustainability and conservation and management and stuff. And what I have to do is get them to translate on how they're not going to destroy the environment. That's what they mean. You need a little bit. And then there's the people who do TIA, talking in acronyms. My clients work in the humanitarian sector and they like acronyms. And they'll say things like the HDC of WVI HQ in USA met with other INGOs and UNHCR to discuss DRR in DRC. What the fuck? Sorry, I meant to say WTF. LOL. So having to put up with all of this language, sometimes when I'm facilitating, I might have what's called an amygdala hijack. The amygdala is that little part of your brain, just back here, that takes over your higher reasoning thinking. And all you can do when you have an amygdala hijack is either fight, flee, or fuck whatever's in front of you. It's okay. Because I'm married, part of my facilitation kit now includes running shoes and boxing gloves. So the running shoes are really useful for rambling Roger. Might get to the point a bit quicker. And the boxing gloves, I don't actually have boxing gloves. You know, I don't condone violence or anything. But when smart-ass Annie says something like, I'd like to see an integral relationship between the embodiment of leadership that will lead to something, 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 I just want to punch her in the face. So while good Viv will be saying, that's interesting, tell me more, bad Viv will be thinking, people only say that when they're not getting enough sex. So what I do is called radical facilitation for a slightly less fucked up world. And I think we all want that. So I'm going to ask you to turn to the person that you're sitting next to and tell them 3 things that you could do in your part of your life to look after the planet. Okay, just kidding. Actually, I'm not. Because the planet is a thing and we really should be looking after it. Thank you very much.